Introduction. Every woman has emotional triggers, hidden vulnerabilities that most men overlook. But a Stoic man, grounded in self-control and deep awareness, can recognize these subtle patterns and respond with strength, not manipulation. In this video, we reveal 9 female weaknesses that men must understand, not to exploit, but to build deeper, more meaningful connections. These aren't about surface-level attraction. They're psychological insights drawn from timeless Stoic principles. If you ever wonder what truly draws a woman in on a deeper level, these secrets will give you the clarity and edge you need. Emotional presence over physical appearance. In a world increasingly obsessed with external beauty, it's easy to overlook the deeper and more lasting power of emotional presence. While physical appearance may capture initial attention, emotional presence is what truly fosters connection, trust, and intimacy in any relationship, romantic, platonic, or professional. Emotional presence is the ability to be fully engaged, attuned, and responsive in the moment. It's about listening actively, empathizing sincerely, and offering genuine attention without distractions. When someone feels seen, heard, and valued in your presence, it creates a magnetic pull far stronger than physical attractiveness ever could. This is why emotionally present individuals often form deeper, more meaningful connections, even if they don't meet traditional beauty standards. Emotional presence communicates security, maturity, and respect. People are drawn to those who make them feel safe enough to be vulnerable, accepted enough to be authentic, and supported enough to grow. These qualities can't be bought, faked, or photoshopped. They come from self-awareness, empathy, and intentional communication. In contrast, relying solely on looks often leads to shallow interactions that fade quickly. When physical appeal is prioritized over emotional depth, relationships become fragile and conditional. Ultimately, cultivating emotional presence is a choice, a discipline of the heart and mind. It means putting the phone down, maintaining eye contact, and being mentally and emotionally available. It means showing up not just with your body, but with your attention and care. Over time, this builds emotional intimacy, which is the real glue that holds relationships together. So while appearance may open a door, it's emotional presence that invites someone to stay. It's not about impressing others with how you look, but impacting them with how you make them feel. Silent confidence. Silent confidence is one of the most powerful yet misunderstood traits a person can possess. It's not about boasting, attention-seeking, or dominating conversations. Instead, it's an inner strength, a quiet self-assurance that speaks volumes without a single word. People with silent confidence do not need to prove themselves. Their energy, presence, and calm demeanor naturally command respect. This kind of confidence is deeply rooted in self-awareness, emotional control, and the knowledge of one's worth. It does not seek validation because it comes from within. In social situations, those who exhibit silent confidence tend to observe more than they speak. They are intentional with their words and actions, choosing quality over quantity. Their silence isn't awkward. It's calculated and meaningful. Others feel their presence, sensing stability and authenticity. They often lead not by shouting commands, but by setting quiet examples. Their nonverbal cues, posture, eye contact, tone, and composure create a strong impression that many find magnetic. Developing silent confidence requires inner work. It begins with self-acceptance and knowing your values, strengths, and boundaries. It's strengthened through discipline, resilience, and the ability to stay grounded under pressure. Rather than reacting emotionally, silently confident people respond with thought and control. This makes them appear more dependable and emotionally intelligent. In a world where noise is constant and self-promotion is common, silent confidence is rare and therefore highly attractive. It signals maturity, power, and trustworthiness. You don't need to speak the loudest to be heard. Your presence can speak for you. Practice listening more, being present, and mastering your emotions. When your confidence is real, you won't need to show it off. It will naturally show itself in every room you enter. And those who notice it will remember it long after the loud voices fade away. Independence and self-control. Independence and self-control are 2 of the most powerful qualities a person can develop, especially in today's world where distractions, external validation, and impulsive behaviors are constantly pulling at our attention. Independence means having the ability to think and act for oneself, without being overly influenced by others' opinions or expectations. It is the foundation of authentic living, where your choices are driven by your values, not by the pressure to conform. When you're independent, you rely on your own judgment, take responsibility for your life, and trust your instincts. This kind of personal freedom fosters confidence and resilience because you're no longer swayed by the ups and downs of external circumstances or relationships. Self-control, on the other hand, is the discipline to govern your emotions, desires, and reactions. It allows you to delay gratification, resist temptations, and make decisions that align with your long-term goals instead of short-term pleasure. Without self-control, even the most intelligent or talented individuals can fall into destructive habits or make impulsive choices that sabotage their potential. Together, independence and self-control form a powerful partnership. Independence gives you the strength to stand alone, and self-control keeps you grounded when emotions or urges threaten to derail you. When you master both, you gain a quiet inner power. You're no longer desperate for approval or prone to emotional outbursts. Instead, you move through life with purpose, calm, and clarity. You become dependable, balanced, and respected. Not because you demand it, but because your presence speaks for itself. True growth begins when you realize that freedom isn't about doing whatever you want. It's about having the discipline to do what's right, even when it's hard. That's the essence of independence and self-control. Unshakable boundaries. Unshakable boundaries are the silent armor of emotionally strong individuals. They're not loud, aggressive, or controlling. Instead, they are calm declarations of self-respect. Establishing unshakable boundaries means you've taken full ownership of your values, your time, and your energy. It's a commitment to yourself that you will not allow the world to shape you into something you're not, nor let others dictate your sense of worth. People who possess this strength understand that boundaries are not about building walls, but about drawing lines that protect their mental peace and emotional well-being. This lesson becomes especially powerful in relationships, both personal and professional. When you clearly communicate what is acceptable and what is not, you teach others how to treat you. Without this clarity, others may unintentionally or intentionally overstep, leaving you drained, resentful, or disrespected. Unshakable boundaries are a form of self-leadership. They require courage to say no, to walk away when necessary, and to stand firm even when pressured. But more importantly, they reflect a deep knowing of your identity and purpose. People with weak or unclear boundaries often feel lost, manipulated, or constantly taken advantage of. In contrast, those with solid boundaries live with intention and peace because their life is not hijacked by others' expectations. Developing these boundaries takes practice, not perfection. It begins by identifying your non-negotiables, what behaviors, situations, or treatment you will not tolerate. Then, enforce them consistently, without guilt. Respect yourself first, and others will follow. In a world that often encourages you to give more, bend more, or shrink yourself to be liked, unshakable boundaries are your anchor. They empower you to remain rooted in your truth, no matter how chaotic the world around you becomes. And from that place, you don't just survive, you lead. Mysterious composure. Mysterious composure is a quiet power of self-control wrapped in intrigue. It's a calm strength that doesn't demand attention, but naturally draws it. This trait is often seen in individuals who carry themselves with poise, speak with purpose, and react with restraint, especially in emotionally charged situations. They're not emotionally numb or distant. Rather, they are deeply aware of their emotions but choose to master them instead of being mastered by them. Mysterious composure gives you an air of confidence that doesn't need validation. People are naturally curious about someone who doesn't overshare, doesn't overreact, and doesn't seek approval. This doesn't mean being aloof or unapproachable. It means valuing your energy and being intentional with your presence. In a world obsessed with constant expression and validation, someone who remains calm, grounded, and unreadable becomes magnetic. Think of how powerful it is when you walk into a room and people sense something about you they can't quite explain. That's the effect of mysterious composure. It captivates without trying. Practicing it means learning to respond instead of react, listening more than speaking, and holding space for silence instead of filling every gap. It means not needing to explain yourself to everyone, not being shaken by chaos, and not using emotions as weapons or shields. Over time, mysterious composure builds inner peace, confidence, and respect from others. It teaches you to operate from your center, not from the noise around you. People might not always understand you, but they will respect the mystery, and that, in itself, is influence. In relationships, business, and life, mysterious composure allows you to maintain power, dignity, and presence without having to prove anything. It's not about hiding. It's about choosing what, when, and to whom you reveal your truth. Emotional mastery, not suppression. Emotional mastery is not about denying or suppressing your feelings. It's about understanding, regulating, and responding to them with wisdom. Many people, especially those influenced by Stoic or tough-it-out mindsets, mistake emotional suppression for strength. But true strength lies not in bottling up your emotions, but in learning how to manage and channel them productively. Suppression often leads to emotional volatility, resentment, or eventual breakdowns because unprocessed emotions don't disappear. They fester. Mastery, on the other hand, begins with awareness. When you feel anger, sadness, anxiety, or even joy, don't ignore it. Pause and acknowledge what you're feeling. Ask yourself why you're feeling it. This self-inquiry allows you to respond with clarity rather than react impulsively. Emotional mastery also includes learning how to express your emotions in ways that are honest but not harmful. For example, communicating frustration with calm assertiveness instead of outbursts reflects maturity. It's also about recognizing emotional patterns and triggers, then developing strategies to navigate them, such as mindfulness, journaling, or seeking support. Mastery builds resilience. Instead of being ruled by your emotions, you use them as internal guidance without becoming overwhelmed. This is especially important in relationships, leadership, and personal growth. People trust and respect those who are emotionally composed but also authentic, who can feel deeply without losing their center. In the long run, emotional mastery enhances confidence, decision-making, and inner peace. Suppression may offer short-term control, but mastery leads to long-term empowerment. It's a skill that requires practice, self-awareness, and patience, but it's one of the most liberating forms of self-discipline you can develop. Purpose-driven life. Living a purpose-driven life means aligning your daily actions, goals, and values with a deeper sense of meaning that goes beyond material success or momentary pleasures. It is about waking up each day with clarity and direction, knowing that your time and energy are invested in something that truly matters. Purpose is not necessarily something grand or public. It can be as simple as raising a loving family, helping others grow, creating art, or being a loyal friend. What makes life meaningful is deeply personal, but discovering that why transforms how you live your how. When you live with purpose, challenges become opportunities for growth rather than setbacks. You're less likely to be swayed by distractions or societal pressures because your inner compass keeps you grounded. Instead of drifting through life reacting to circumstances, you take intentional steps that align with your long-term vision. This kind of clarity builds resilience, focus, and emotional well-being. Moreover, a purpose-driven life enhances relationships as you're more present, empathetic, and motivated to support others. People with a clear sense of purpose often experience greater satisfaction because their efforts feel significant. Even in moments of struggle or uncertainty, their purpose serves as a guiding light. To live this way requires introspection, asking yourself what truly fulfills you, what values you stand for, and how you want to be remembered. It also requires courage to step away from comfort and pursue what resonates with your soul. A purpose-driven life doesn't mean every day is perfect, but it does mean every day matters. In the end, living with purpose isn't just about achieving something. It's about becoming someone intentional, impactful, and at peace with the path they've chosen. Controlled masculine energy. Controlled masculine energy is a disciplined and purpose-driven force within a man that allows him to remain centered, composed, and intentional in every area of life. Unlike reckless aggression or emotional volatility, controlled masculine energy channels strength through self-mastery. It's the difference between a wildfire and a furnace. Both powerful, but one is destructive, the other directed and purposeful. This energy is not about dominance over others, but dominion over the self, emotions, impulses, and environment. A man who cultivates controlled masculine energy doesn't react impulsively when provoked. He observes, assesses, and chooses the most effective response. His presence commands respect not because he demands it, but because he radiates calm power, resilience, and certainty. This type of energy is built through Stoic discipline, daily routines, physical fitness, clear boundaries, and a deep sense of internal purpose. Controlled masculine energy is often quiet, not loud or performative. It reveals itself in a firm handshake, steady eye contact, and the ability to stay grounded even in chaos. It is most evident in how a man handles failure, rejection, and challenge. He learns, adjusts, and advances rather than crumbling or blaming. This energy is also deeply attractive because it signals safety, stability, and confidence. In relationships, it allows a man to lead with empathy while standing firm in his values. Ultimately, developing controlled masculine energy is a lifelong pursuit. It requires introspection, humility, and unwavering commitment to self-improvement. It is a foundation of a man who builds, protects, and inspires, not from ego, but from a deep, unwavering core. When a man masters this energy, he becomes unshakable, not because the world gets easier, but because he becomes stronger. That strength, quietly contained and consciously directed, is what defines true masculine power. Consistency and integrity. Consistency and integrity are foundational principles for building a strong and respected character. Consistency means showing up with the same level of effort, discipline, and attitude over time, regardless of external circumstances or internal emotions. It is a quiet force behind long-term success. Whether in relationships, career, health, or personal growth, consistency demonstrates reliability and commitment. It says, I can be counted on. But consistency without integrity can become hollow repetition. Integrity adds a moral compass. It is the alignment between your values, words, and actions. A person with integrity stands firm even when no one is watching. They do what is right, not because it's easy or profitable, but because it aligns with their inner truth. When consistency and integrity combine, they create trust. Others trust you because they see a predictable pattern of honesty and accountability. You trust yourself more deeply, knowing you are not swayed by convenience or fear. In a world filled with fleeting trends, shortcuts, and pressure can form, those who hold the line with consistency and integrity become rare and valuable. They lead without needing to shout and influence others through quiet example. Living with consistency and integrity is not always easy. It often requires sacrifice, delayed gratification, and courage. But the reward is self-respect, peace of mind, and a legacy of trust. Start small. Keep promises. Show up on time. Do your best even when no one acknowledges it. Over time, these habits compound. You become a type of person others look to, not because you are perfect, but because you are steady, honest, and true. That is a quiet power of a life lived with consistency and integrity.